point drop during the session ever that we have ever seen, down 1,089 points. That was me 1 year ago today. I was on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange when that 1,000-point drop caused stomach churning around the world. Turned out to be a computer glitch that forced the New York Stock Exchange to halt trading nearly the whole day. Since then, the markets have had quite the turnaround. We've seen multiple new record highs as the bulls have charged dramatically this summer. Our floor show traders endured that day. With me, live to tell, at the New York Stock Exchange, the CME Group, and the NYMEX. Teddy, you've been on the floor since 1969, but that was a doozy, wasn't it? And what do we have today? Very close to new record highs.
And complete boredom and lack of interest. You can't even find anybody to talk to, even to complain to. I mean, nobody's at work. The next couple of weeks and the week following Labor Day are historically pretty quiet, pretty slow weeks. And then, of course, we're on hold for the Fed chairman to speak Friday. And I suspect it's a lot to do about nothing, because I can't imagine that we're going to hear anything that we don't already know. But the markets seem to be focused on that. And then lastly, of course, we have the issue with some of the drug stocks, but primarily Hillary Clinton kind of rearing her ugly head as she did during the 90s when she beat up on the drug companies. And I think for those of us that have been around that long, it reminds us all too clear about what she did to the big pharma during Clinton's presidency. You know,
that's interesting you bring that up. She weighed in today on the Mylan price hike, and suddenly the stock had been down 1%. But you can't really blame her overall, because it was down 4% yesterday.
Yeah. No, I know.
Now it's down 6% in the last 38 minutes of trade today. Todd Horwitz, it's this, it's that, it's the Fed, it's Janet Yellen. But let me disagree with Teddy for a second, which is a little nerve-wracking to do because he's way more experienced than I am. But I wouldn't say this is too quiet a market. Yes, the volume's thin, but we've got a loss of about 60 points on the Dow right now.
Hi, Liz. You know, we do have a big loss, but there is really not much going on. Teddy is right. If you take a look out in the pits, if you look at what's going on, there's very little volume, there's very little interest. And what we're really seeing, although the VIX is higher today, we're seeing a crumbling VIX and a market reaching all-time highs. And what's really happening is you've got retail traders buying stock on margin that they can't afford to buy. And I think that's going to create the overall biggest thing.
So isn't it sort
higher.
of it's calmest before the storm? My goodness, I don't know. That makes me nervous because we are quiet. 2 of you out of 3 have said it's quiet. And suddenly we may have some type of headline that gyrates these markets, and people will look up from the beach and go to their computers and start trading.
I think that's exactly right. I think this is what we have to look at here, Liz, is that we've had this situation develop about 6 or 7 times over the last 10 years, and each time, 3 or 4 weeks later, we had a very big sell-off. Now, I don't know where we're going to go from there, but there is, the markets are due a big sell-off on some kind of event. It can be either economical or it could be a geopolitical event, but for some reason it's going to spook the investors.
Well, investors in oil are getting spooked a little bit here. We're down 3%, Luke, on the day, on the session here. The inventory for the week jumped. So again, more supply at precisely the time where we should be seeing drawdowns. We saw a build of 2.5 million barrels over the last week. And what do you expect? Mama Lizzie was right. You've been right. The 2 of us together. There's just too much supply.
Yeah, there is. And, you know, this $40 bottom and $50 top, I think it's just going to last till the end of the year. The Iranians said today that they're probably going to think about maybe holding back production a little bit. But then they said they're not going to show up to the OPEC meeting 2 weeks from now. And yeah, they always, you know, it's back and forth. But the 2 voices in OPEC are Saudi and Iran. What they say really matters. And then Friday, we've got Janet Yellen talking. I can't really believe anything she says anymore about anything. You know, I mean, 8 years of this, the 0 rates, who cares what she says? They're not going to raise rates, and it's just going to be the same old story. Okay. I think, and especially in an election year, I think we're going to stick right around here till the end of the year.
Thank you, gentlemen, very much. And Teddy, you can always complain to me. Teddy said there's nobody around even to complain to. Teddy, Todd, Luke, good to see all of you. Do not miss Fox Business's coverage of all